Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me. This is Kathy, and today I am hopping along with Team Tiny for our Spring April Showers Challenge. I'll be using the Spring is in the Air stamp set from Not Too Shabby, and I decided to create a background similar to one that I did for the Save the Crafty YouTuber video hop with a little bit of a twist. I started out by treating my watercolor cardstock with my anti-static powder bag. I arranged a couple of the smaller stamps in the set on an acrylic block and randomly stamped them on the watercolor panel with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I coated that with my clear embossing powder and then heat set that with my heat tool. By doing the background this way, there's no masking involved like there was in my previous video. I instead decided to use my Distress Oxide inks to create kind of a watercolor looking type of background. So I smushed my ink pads directly to my craft mat. I smushed tumbled glass, but I ended up not using that at all. The two colors that I did end up using are Peacock Feathers and Cracked Pistachio. I'll be sure to have all of the products that I used listed in the description box below. One of the reasons that I decided to emboss these images is because the embossing powder, once it's melted, will create little barriers. So by adding the water to the cardstock first and then dropping the color in with a wet paintbrush, that helps keep the ink outside of those images. The trick here is to add water to the cardstock just until there's a little bit of a sheen. You don't want to have the cardstock be oversaturated when you first get started. Then when I started to add the color, my paintbrush was really very saturated, so that the ink would kind of just spread around on its own. I had taken a course with Kelly Latavola that she had done through the Altenew program, and one of the things that she said during that class was stay in your lane and let the water do the work. So as the color kind of got concentrated in some of the areas, I just made sure that my paintbrush was really wet and I just kind of pushed it around. There were a couple of areas where I wanted to add in a little bit more of the cracked pistachio, so I was able to do that by picking up more color. When you are deciding what colors to use for a background like this, you do want to choose colors that will blend nicely together. So like a blue and a green, or orange and a yellow, or pink and an orange, so you don't end up with mud. Anyway, once I was done adding all of the color into the background, I set that off to the side. Then I stamped this sweet little bunny holding an umbrella, which I've used her in a previous video as well, onto a piece of Cougar Super Smooth cardstock with My Favorite Things Extreme Black Hybrid ink. And then I also stamped the umbrella onto a piece of patterned paper because I plan on doing some paper piecing a little bit later, which I changed my mind on the patterned paper, but you'll see that when we get there. For the coloring of the bunny, I colored her the exact same way as I did in my previous video. I just used different markers this time, and I'll have all of the marker colors that I used down below as well. So while I finish up the coloring, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about Team Tiny and the purpose of this hop. We're a group of YouTubers who have smaller channels, meaning we have less than 1,000 subscribers. We come together every month and create videos for your enjoyment. To follow along with this particular video hop, all you have to do is click on the hashtag in the description box below. And some of the channels are going to be hosting giveaways this month, so make sure you hop along and check those out. We certainly appreciate you taking the time to watch our videos, and I'd like to encourage you to click that like button, leave a comment, subscribe if you'd like. And we've recently welcomed a few new members to Team Tiny, so be sure to hop along and check out all of the videos. Again, very easy to do. All you have to do is click that hashtag in the description box below. And I encourage you to check out all the videos. There are amazing creators within this group, and I'm confident that you'll find a new to you creator to subscribe to. After I was done with the coloring, I set the little bunny aside, and even though I'm using different paper to do the paper piecing on the umbrella, I did want to leave this part in just to share a few tips with you when doing fussy cutting to do paper piecing. The first thing is you want to make sure that you cut right up against the stamp line of the image, And another little helpful tip is to move your paper more than your scissors. That'll help you get cleaner cuts. And then what I like to do after fussy cutting is go around the edge of whatever it is that I cut out with a black pen. That helps hide any unperfectly cut areas on that particular image. Anyway, moving on to putting the card together. Since the watercolor cardstock did get pretty saturated, I decided to use liquid glue, and I adhered that panel to a piece of black cardstock that's just slightly wider on either side, so there would be a little bit of a border. After I had it in place on the black cardstock, I put an acrylic block on top of that, just so the glue would have a chance to grab on really well. And there I adhered the green and white polka dot umbrella on top of the plaid umbrella. Then I adhered the bunny, which I had cut with a circle die using my Gemini Junior die cutting machine, to a black scalloped circle. Then I adhered my background to the front of a top folding A2 size note card. And of course, I pulled out my foam tape to adhere the bunny to the front of the card. To finish it up, I used white Blizzard glitter drops from Nuvo just to add a little bit of embellishment, and that's it. That finishes up my card for today. Thank you so much for joining me and for joining all of us here on Team Tiny. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not yet subscribed, I'd love it if you would. And don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.